When you get a film degree, what you don't get is stability. About the only thing that you're ever actually going to earn or accrue is debt. And pretty much you're going to spend your life going from one dead-end job to another. And in 2010, I returned to Philadelphia after a brief stint living out of the back of my car in Go Fuck Yourself, Austin, Texas. And I was hired by a rather eclectic character to produce a series of videos for this foreign educational company that he owned, which he funded through a franchise of Cash for Gold shops back during that crippling recession that, as far as I can tell, has never ended. And when I finished those videos, he came to me and said that I would make a really great gold buyer. Why, do you ask? Because I was poor, desperate, and too damn honest to steal from him like all of his other employees. And then he offered me $800 a week cash under the table, which is pretty hard to pass up when you're living on your mom's couch, and he never let me forget that. So I should also probably tell you that he had been in prison before, after he got busted running a really large meth ring. And although he had been straight and been on the straight and narrow for years, he still ran his business like a pusher. In the beginning, we were best friends. He took me out to dinner once a week at Brazilian steakhouses, and he was constantly giving me large cash bonuses, which I never felt comfortable taking because I knew what it meant in the long run. But for the first time, I wasn't behind on my bills, and I had my own place in a pre-gentrified Kensington that I would later be priced out of. Thank you to all you new New Yorkers that moved here. Really, if you think you got a great deal with your new $1 million house, please go back to New York. We don't need you. So eventually, obviously, after a while, those cash bonuses stopped. I was making half of what I was making in the beginning, but it was too late. He owned my ass. And when you work in a small cash-only business, there are no sick days. There's no time off, no matter how sick you are. And there was one time when I had a flu, like the type of flu where you're shivering and sweating at the same time. You're running a fever so high that you're hallucinating and waking up in strange places around the house, not knowing how you got there. And I had a family member who gave me some leftover prescription-strength cough syrup to help me sleep. And this was the good stuff. It had codeine in it. Lots of it. This was the kind of stuff that white trash kids used to get high on in high school, and boy, did I get high. But my boss wouldn't let me take off from work. What are you talking about? You want to go back to your mother's couch? You take off from work, you're going to cost me thousands. I'll find some other kid who needs to get off a fucking couch. So I had to go in. And my job that day was to drive around to his 5 or 6 different Cash for Gold shops, picking up the goods and delivering money so they could buy more and then putting the goods in the bank. So I am driving all over Delco and Bucks County, really sick and really stoned. And he also wanted me to stop by the Granite Run Mall and try to sell some gold to a competing business to see how much they were paying that day. And the fact that there was a Cash for Gold shop in that mall should tell you what kind of shape the place was in at that point. There was actually 3 Cash for Gold shops in there. About 80% of the storefronts were otherwise boarded up. The place was like desolate, borderline apocalyptic. But then I stumbled upon one of the most amazing things I had ever seen. Some glorious Willy Wonka madman had taken 3 empty storefronts and combined them into the strangest tourist trap come museum I've ever seen. Dino Dan's Dino Seporium, self-proclaimed 8th wonder of the world. Fucking dinosaur museum in the Granite Run Mall. And I'm sitting there and I'm high and I'm thinking my whole life has led up to this moment. To me exploring this dinosaur museum, pretty much tripping my balls off at the theater next to at the mall next to the theater where I saw Jurassic Park. But Dino Dan's Dino Emporium was only open Thursday through Saturday, and this was a Wednesday. I was devastated until I remembered that I dated a woman who worked at the mall, and I knew there was all these maintenance hallways with emergency exits that were very rarely locked that led into all the storefronts. And so in that moment, I decided, I'm breaking into Dino Dan's Dino Emporium. So I'm like walking around these hallways, just like pushing at random doors until I get in. And words can't even describe just how gloriously tacky the place was. Like, the whole thing was designed to look like it was the inside of a circus tent. And Dino Dan's claim to fame was that he worked on Jurassic Park. Now, I don't know in what capacity, whether or not he was like a consultant or someone who charged walkie-talkie batteries, but the place was filled with like these giant, cheap papier-mâché dinosaurs and these like elaborate dioramas made out of Jurassic Park action figures that you could have bought at the clearance bin at the KB toy store about 15 years earlier. I'm having the time of my life, like just laughing like a child until I spot a mall cop patrolling the other end of the dark museum. And I realize I just fucked up. Not only was I trespassing, but because I was working and transporting all these goods, I'm very clearly high. But in my shoulder bag, I got a manila folder with about $5,000 worth of jewelry, $5,000 of cash, and because I'm also working security for this business and I have a 235 at that point, I'm carrying, as in packing heat, as in I have a loaded gun on my hip. And I know if I'm caught, I'm probably gonna get arrested. I'm not gonna really know how to explain the gold and the money, and my boss certainly doesn't like cops with his background, and I'm totally gonna lose my permit, and I'm totally gonna lose my job. I'm freaking out, but then I think, no. All those years of playing Metal Gear Solid has prepared me just for this. I'm gonna Solid Snake my way right past this motherfucker, and that's exactly what I did. I'm like creeping behind these papier-mâché dinosaurs, trying to like figure out this guy's like pattern and routine, and the moment the coast is clear, I run out, get to my car, never went back to that mall. And I don't know what the moral of this story is, other than I guess if you get a film degree and you're indebted to the wrong people, there just might come a point in your life where you find yourself breaking into a dinosaur museum high on cough syrup with $5,000 worth of gold and cash with a loaded gun on your hip. I don't know. Thank you.